Hi everyone, it's Alexandra here, and today we're gonna do another astrology video on Sabrina Carpenter's birth chart. There's talk of her being a Cancer rising, a Leo rising, and a Pisces rising. I'm just basing this chart off of what I saw on astro.com because that's my go-to. It might not be accurate, so just take this with a grain of salt. I'm going more with Cancer rising in this video. Honestly, just looked up Cancer rising celebrities, saw their faces, and then looked up Leo celebrities, saw their faces, and it compared what Sabrina Carpenter's face looks like, because rising sign is oftentimes like your physical appearance. And what I noticed is that the Cancer rising people were like Adele and Cameron Diaz and Margot Robbie, and they all have very similar features to Sabrina Carpenter. They have, like, Cameron Diaz, she has like those cheekbones. Sabrina Carpenter has the cheekbones too. And then Margot Robbie and Sabrina Carpenter have the same exact eyebrows. It's so crazy. Like, they look alike. She could be her mom. Like, I'd believe it if they were in a movie together. Anyway, well, I'm just saying. And then I looked up like the Leo rising celebrities, and I was like, I can see where the similarities are, but personally, I just think that Leo risings have more of a masculine energy to them that's edgier. And I think Sabrina is more feminine. She gives sweetness, right? So I would say Cancer rising isn't a terrible guess. Another thing is, with the Cancer rising, she has a Pisces midheaven. And you guys forget that a lot of people are more likely to guess celebrities' midheavens than they are to guess their rising sign. And a lot of you thought that she was a Pisces rising. I think even Sabrina Carpenter said she thought she was a Pisces rising. But she might have confused it for being a Pisces midheaven. She might have confused what those two things were. I don't know. It would make sense for us to see her as a Pisces if she has a Pisces midheaven. With the Leo rising, I don't think she has a Pisces midheaven. No, I'm not too sure, but I don't think it makes sense that she would have that. Cancer rising makes sense for a lot of reasons. Look, Cancer risings are very sweet, have a reserved energy to them, whereas Leo risings are very like loud and like, let's start the party, let's have fun, da 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 da. Liven you when you meet them, like, hey girl, da, 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 da. Like, that's what it feels like to be a Leo rising. But it's like a Cancer rising energy when you approach them is more calm than that, but also very like understanding and sweet and still charismatic. And the other thing is, with a Cancer rising, her Venus is in Cancer. So her Venus is conjunct her rising within a few degrees of each other. So she would also naturally have this sweet Cancerian charisma when she first meets people that is very feminine and nurturing. Her album is called Short and Sweet, okay? I feel like it makes sense that she be a Cancer rising or whatever. I saw like other arguments online for what she could be and whatever. We don't know her exact birth time, but this is what we're gonna go off of today. Anyway, so that being said, we talked about Venus, we talked about the rising. With a Cancer rising, your ruler of your chart would be the moon. So her moon is in Pisces. And with the birth time given on astro.com, it was very specific birth time. I'm not sure where it came from, but if that is the right birth time, the accurate birth time, then her moon would conjunct her midheaven, which makes a lot of sense as a celebrity or anybody who is aligned with their career and being seen for who they are in their career, being the face of something, being recognized for something. And the moon makes someone very likable in their career and makes them have a social life based around that career. It's also one of those things, like anything moon midheaven, I'm saying this as a Cancer midheaven, that I understand this, in your 10th house, there's this thing where like all eyes are on you in terms of your emotions and your mood swings and how you feel about things, if you're up or if you're down. People are receptive to your emotions on a very public level. So people are very tuned into how you feel. And it's hard to hide what you feel. But it's also a great placement for an artist, for someone who's conveying emotion, singing or acting, dancing even. This works really well for her as a performer because she can emote a lot of things and really get her message across that people are tuned into. Now, with the Pisces midheaven, this does mean we see her in a way where she's ethereal and she comes off as a sweetheart and very girly, but there's also something very emotional, especially with the moon there. If you relate to her lyrics, like, you can really feel what she's saying. Though I will say Pisces sometimes do have a victim mentality. Now, this is like on the more negative side of things, okay? There's all these amazing things about Pisces, but we're also going to talk about the dark side of Pisces as well. And so sometimes we can see her kind of in this more victim mentality. Like, that, I'm not trying to say she's right or she's wrong. I'm just saying Pisces can do that at their worst. And Pisces placements. And we can see that a lot in her music as well. Don't come for me. I'm just being real. I'm being real. Now that we talked about that, we also want to talk about her sun in Taurus. Okay, so her sun, notice how the sun did not come up first, because the sun isn't everything. If she was a Leo rising, okay, then we'd be talking about the sun by now, but we're not doing that. We're not doing this again. The sun in Taurus, okay, is in her 11th house, potentially. She comes off very down to earth. She is down to earth. She's very chill about things, very calm, slow to anger. That's why people like her. People fuck with her because she's just so chill and like cool and down to earth. And that is literally the reason why she is so popular and so famous, okay? Because honestly, I have an argument that the 10th house isn't actually fame. The 10th house is more so like recognition for your achievements. But the 11th house is just popularity. For no reason sometimes. It's just how people know you or like your social circles. It's not necessarily always related to work. It's just kind of like a fame thing. Like, you think influencer, and a lot of influencers have 11th house placements. You'll see that a lot. Or people with big friend groups, even if they're not influencers, just regular people you know. It's like, those people who always hang out with friends all the time, they have 11th house placements, babe. My little brother is like this. He has 11th house placements, and he was always with a big group of friends all the time. Click to click. Like, honestly, that's what 11th house gives. And a celebrity she has a lot of placements in her 11th house. For a celebrity, that just makes it on a wider scale. The more planets you have in your 11th house, the bigger amount of people you're going to affect in this world, the more people you're going to influence. Because honestly, yes, the 10th house is achievement, but the 11th house is more influence. So, you know, she has a 10th house placement, but she has a lot more 11th house placements. The social part of it and the fame part of it, that's where she thrives the most. A lot of that is being strategic about who you know. A lot of that is strategic about knowing the right people and being a part of the right social groups and being a part of the right, like, being at the right place, right time, basically. Being at the right events, making sure you get those invites where you need to be to excel in popularity. What the fuck? Can't I say that? What's going on? And people are always like, oh, she was like slow to fame, like she was slow and those things. Well, she has Saturn and Mercury conjunct in the 11th house. Always been strategic about it. But I do think that it obviously took time for her to take off. Mind you, the 10th house has nothing to do with it. It's not that she hasn't been successful. She's always been successful. She has her moon in the 10th house. She can't help but put her feelings out there. She was always expressing herself in the world. That's where her heart goes. So of course she's always been successful. But the fame part of it is different, okay? It's not the same thing. So you're saying she was slow to success. No, she wasn't. She was always successful. She was slow to fame. She was slow to the mass fame that she has now. That's what it is. Saturn in the 11th house, very specifically, that's what took a while to grow, was that being known by people. But it's in the sign of Taurus, and Taurus likes to move gradually. And, you know, that's how it is. You know, like the King of Pentacles or the Queen of Pentacles, they are the most rich. They have the most coin. They have the biggest empires, minus like the Emperor and Empress. I'm talking about tarot for a second. Like, but they took time to get there. It was a slow and gradual process. I'm bringing up Pentacles because Pentacles are earth and earth signs. And her being a Taurus, that's an earth sign. So she's Queen of Pentacles, right? She's the Queen of Pentacles, basically. Because it took her a while to get that fame, that fortune. I always knew who she was since she was famous, because I was still at that age where like Disney Channel I was still aware of the shows on there, even if I started to kind of like waver away from it. So I knew who she was and I knew some of her songs. Can't blame a girl for trying. I remember that one. Yes, so I remember that from a very long time ago. Once again, she's always been famous, she's always been successful, but to get to the level that she's at now, it took a while. And the other thing is, if you're looking at other celebrities' charts and they're not as famous as she is, it's like you still see just as many 11th house placements, you still see just as many 10th house placements. So why does it really matter? I think that the thing is, she's always had her mind on it, and it was intentional for her to be that big. That's the thing. I think the thing is, she really did care about the fame of it all, because that's where a lot of her planets are. That's where she thrives. That's where her sun is. She feels the most like herself, being known and being social, and that's in her chart. Now, I could be wrong if she's not a Cancer rising and whatever, and then this whole fucking reading is wrong. That's embarrassing, but you know, maybe it's not. Who knows? Now, the other thing is North Node and South Node. This squares her sun in Taurus. So I did want to talk about this. Her North Node is in Leo in the 2nd house. And then her South Node is in Aquarius in the 8th house. So this is about gains and losses. Money, your own money, and then other people's money. So the South Node is what we're used to. She's used to her money being maybe controlled by other people, with Uranus being on her South Node a few degrees away from it. You can have someone give you a lot of money like this, and then it's gone like this just as easily. So there's a lot of ups and downs when it comes to what people give you, what people take from you. People can steal from you very easily with that type of placement. And you know, this is a more private part of life. So this would not be something the public would really know too much about, because this is hidden. This is the 8th house. And when we're talking about money, money is a private matter as well. So, you know, this may not be something we know. But obviously her North Node in Leo in the 2nd house, she wants big things. She wants the money. She wants the extravagant lifestyle. And she wants to have it all, basically. Who doesn't? But it's out of her comfort zone to get there, because it means, you know, standing up for yourself on how much you're worth. It's hard because with Uranus on the South Node here, it's like there's always something holding her back of like, well, what if this happens? And I can't predict if these, it's like you could plan on going towards that North Node in Leo, but it's just aspected kind of terribly. Her sun squares it. Uranus is conjunct her South Node. So if anything, her South Node gets more support from Uranus and is in opposition with her North Node. So making money can be kind of a frustrating matter, where it feels like there's a lot of ups and there's a lot of downs. And I think that having her own money is something that she really wants to have control over, but it feels not completely entirely possible. She is so famous, and there are a lot of people that she's connected to, a lot of tricky relationships. After reading that, I was kind of curious, like, if anything like happens, and there seemed to be some sort of lawsuit with like ex producers or something. I don't know. Do not quote me, do your research, but I'm just saying, like, that could be why. It could be like, okay, problems with the 8th house, like being sued or things kind of coming out of nowhere. And maybe this happens because you want control over your own money. You don't want to pay people that you feel like used you. Or maybe it's like, no, I want control of my own money. Why are you getting what I made? Like, there could be some frustration with that, feeling like she's not always in control. Also, I wanted to say this is a little fun thing, but she has Mars in Libra, which is why she has such a fun sense of humor. Libras are so funny. Libra placements are hilarious. Any air sign is. And then like Mars being like the planet of sex and like physicality makes sense why she's so witty when it comes to these like sexual jokes, and makes sense why she has all those like nonsense outros, right? Those are the main things I took from her chart. Let me know in the comments below who you'd like me to read next. Also, if you'd like a birth chart reading from me, a personal birth chart reading, I am selling them for $10. So the link will be in the description. Goodbye. See you next time.